Alright, what's up guys? Bailey here. Today in this video, I'm going to be going over the most violent fighters from each division as of now in November of 2025. I apologize for not uploading, being absent for the past 2 weeks. I've been super busy with midterms and just training and other endeavors of such. Anyways, guys, I'm not going to waste your time. Let's just get straight into it. All right, so starting off here with the women's MMA, I'm going to be honest, I looked over the divisions, and Zhang Wei Li is probably the most violent out of any of them, and I think it's by a mile. You know, you could argue, like, well, what about Kayla Harrison, or what about, like, Rose, or no, just no. Zhang Wei Li is on a whole nother level. I mean, she packs some serious power in her hits, you know, especially in her fights against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She beat her twice, you know, and just the reactions, the difference between her landing a shot and then her getting hit. It's always been very apparent that Zhang Wei Li was just simply more powerful. And, I mean, she fucking beat the shit out of Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I mean, they beat the shit out of each other, but really in the second fight, I mean, the first fight, Joanna Jędrzejczyk had a hematoma on her forehead that was the size of Texas. And then in the second fight in round two, they're going at it. Joanna Jędrzejczyk is pushing forward. Zhang Wei Li steps back and then bam, catches her and flattens her out with a spinning back fist. It was by far one of the best finishes, and I think easily had bangers that defined women's MMA to this day. If you don't know who Zhang Wei Li is, listen, you're missing out. You know, especially because now she's fighting Valentina Shevchenko and she vacated the title, and I think easily she had the best thing going on in strawweight. I think she has easy potential to be double champ, and yeah, man, like I said, Zhang Wei Li is just all business, all gas, no brakes, man. I think she's fucking awesome. All right, so now with this out the way, we're gonna get into the men's list here. So first for the flyweights, we got Joshua Van. I think Joshua Van is probably the most violent fighter in the flyweight division right now. It's not really a debate, at least to me. He single-handedly revived the flyweight division. Before he joined the division, it was fucking nobody. Pantoja was beating everybody, right? Brandon Moreno wasn't really getting close to the title shot. Brandon Royval wasn't really getting close to the title shot. I mean, yeah, he was number one contender, but why the fuck did he fight Van, right, over Pantoja? And at the end of the day, he produced a fight of the year candidate against Brandon Royval. This fight was awesome, especially when it came down to, I believe, the last 15, 10 seconds where Van just clips him with an overhand, knocks Royval down. It was awesome. And Royval, hats off to him. He's a great fighter, but Joshua Van is just fearless, and he showed why. He went from unranked to number one within, what, months, a year? Very, very short rise, and yeah, it feel kind of bad that he has to be sacrificed to Pantoja, but two great wins, right? Brandon Royval and Bruno Silva. His finish against Bruno Silva was really, really nice, where he knocked him down 3 times in one fight and just beat the shit out of him. And it was awesome, and it was great. Even though I don't think he's going to beat Pantoja, I do think he is by far the most violent. He pushes the issue, pushes the pace, and that's why he's on this list. All right, yeah, so next up for the bantamweights, we got Merab Dvalishvili. And his resume is so big, I gotta move the camera over here. This kind of goes without saying to me. I almost picked Davidson Figueiredo, but most of his work comes from the flyweight division, and I just don't really see anybody else who's more violent in terms of winning fights and fucking people up more than Merab. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest with you. He drowns and suffocates everybody, literally everybody. He improves every fight he has, where, you know, he went from kind of being this grappling decision merchant, you know, kind of whatever, to now he's finishing guys, right? Or damn near finishing them, right? I mean, he submitted O'Malley. He hurt Corey Sandhagen, almost got him out of there as well. Look, he just has a GOAT status, you know? I mean, he is the bantamweight GOAT. There's not too much to say about him, right? He beat Sean O'Malley twice, beat Umar Nurmagomedov, beat Corey Sandhagen, beat Piotr Yan, beat Henry Cejudo, beat Jose Aldo. He'd done that. He'd been there. He'd done that. And I just think you don't go through those guys and do what you're doing and I guess not be known as that, you know? So that's why I got to put him here. I'm not going to lie. He's probably like the quickest entry, you know, out of anybody in this whole list or out of these divisions. Yeah, really not else too much to say. He's just super dominant. All right, man. You want to talk about somebody else who is game? Somebody else who is violent? For the featherweight division, I got to vote for Diego Lopez, man. I think he is the baddest motherfucker in the featherweight division, man. He is game as it can get, giving Volk one of his best fights, man. In his fight, he knocked him down towards the second or third round with a big right hand and just clashed with him. That cool shot where it's in slow-mo. Volk with the hook and Lopez with the uppercut. Super clean. And yeah, man, fight of the year contender. He gave Volk one of his toughest fights. And on top of that, he had a banger fight of the year against John Silva. Fight was on UFC Noche, right? He saved Noche. And on top of that, it was the same night as Canelo and Crawford, which was one of the most boring fights ever. And this fight was an all-out war, man. I mean, as Silva was going at him, Lopez takes a step back and then boom, spins right into the elbow, drops Silva down, ground and pound. And that was it, man. The fight was fucking awesome. He's been goated. He put an absolutely goated late notice performance against Movsar Evelev, who is currently the #1 guy. You know, listen, his best wins, Dan Ige, obviously John Silva. He did Brian Ortega really dirty, man. And that might be a mythical fighter. It might be Noche Lopez, right? Like, you get Lopez in UFC Noche, he's going to fuck you up. He caught Ortega with a quick 2-hook combination, one that slept him and one that woke him up. And it was absolutely crazy, man. I think at the end of the day, Diego Lopez, he's as game as it gets. I think he will be a champion. Featherweight, lightweight, fucking catchweight, it don't matter. This guy will fight whoever, wherever, whenever, man. He is as legit as it gets. I love Diego Lopez. I think he's awesome. I only see him really climbing up from here, if I'm being honest. So yeah, next entry, man. For the lightweights, we got Max Holloway. Now, I know people are going to look at me and be like, oh, man, you got Gaethje, you got fucking Topuria. Why are you voting Max? He just joined the lightweight division. What the fuck? Whoa. Let's calm down, okay? Well, first of all, he's literally the BMF champ. You don't get that without being already one of the most violent people in a sport of violence. Number 2, he looked very clean and crisp against Dustin. More clean and crisp and durable in ways that I haven't seen in a while, right? I mean, to keep things in perspective, this is what Max looked like after his first fight with Dustin, and he was hurt multiple times, whereas this is what he looked like after the third fight in Dustin's retirement. And while Max does still look a little worse for wear, he doesn't look nearly as bad and didn't sustain nearly as much damage in that fight. And people want to say, well, oh, Dustin, you know, he's out of his prime, you know. Well, he gave Islam a really, really good fight beforehand. So we can't really sit here and say that Dustin retired when he was completely out of his prime, because that's just not true in a while, right? I mean, 8 shots, he knocks Dustin down. Now, I know Max got knocked down too, but he hurt Dustin a couple times throughout the fight where Dustin looked in trouble. And it was good that he retired, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. Max really outdid him that fight. I mean, Dustin had his moments, but looking back at the fight, he kind of dominated him. And Max Holloway, his resume is about as legit as it gets, man. UFC featherweight champion, UFC interim featherweight champion, UFC BMF champion, beating Jose Aldo twice, one of the featherweight GOATs, beating Dustin Poirier, beating Brian Ortega, beating Anthony Pettis. Obviously, his 2 very famous knockouts, one being his 300 knockout against Justin Gaethje, where he slept him in the middle of the octagon. That is infamous. And then also where he retired Korean Zombie, where he knocked him out in their fight as well. And listen, Max Holloway, he is as game as he gets, for real. And I just think at the end of the day, he is not only one of the most violent people in the division, but probably in this whole list. But there is one guy later on down the road who we will discuss, who I think is the most violent man in the UFC. All right, next, we got welterweights. Now, I know this is going to be a very controversial pick, but I'm going with Shavkat Rakhmonov, man. I think he is the most violent man in the division. It's hard to argue. 1, he's undefeated. He's 19-0. Number 2, 18 of those wins have come by finish. Number 3, 8 of those wins have come by knockout, and before, 10 of those wins have come by submission. He's on this list mostly because he has just the best finishing ability. He's finished everybody outside of Ian Gary. I mean, what he did to Jeff Neal was insane. He grabbed him and just started choking him and manhandling him, dude. It was wild. It kind of sucks to see what happened with his family and with these injuries that he's had, where he just seems to be kind of riddled with them. He does seem to be recovering, so that's good. And yeah, kind of really nothing else much to say here with Shavkat, unfortunately. But I do think that he is the most violent guy out of all the welterweights. You could say, well, what about Jack Della Maddalena, Carlos Prates? Why would you compare that to this guy who is undefeated and has finished pretty much everybody except for one guy? That shows violence. You know what I mean? So yeah, now we're going to go on to the middleweights. All right, so this one's actually going to be a relatively short one too. But yeah, we got Khamzat Chimaev. He's kind of in here for the same reasons that Merab is. It's really just that nobody can beat him right now. He's also undefeated, and he's just head and shoulders above really all the other fighters and all the other competition. I can't really think of anybody, literally anybody, who can beat him in his weight and even in the weight below him. Best wins are obviously Dricus du Plessis, where he just completely suffocated and dominated him for 25 minutes. Robert Whittaker, where he got rid of him in the first round, broke his jaw with a rear naked choke. And then his awesome fight against Gilbert Burns. These are just prime examples of how he is, in my opinion, the most violent guy. But outside of that, I just think it really proves that the middleweight division needs to step up. So yeah, moving on to the light heavyweight division. Come on, man. You had to have known I was going to pick Jiri Prochazka. In my opinion, he is the most violent man in UFC today, the most exciting active fighter, the most exciting light heavyweight fighter today outside of Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree. Let's just get right into him, right? First of all, like I was saying earlier, most exciting fighter in UFC. Every fight you watch, you're going to tune in because it's guaranteed chaos. He forces his will and he just goes straight into the fucking fire. He does not care at all. Prime example is his fight against Khalil Roundtree, where he was down 2 rounds and Jiri Prochazka just goes, you know what? I think I'm going to start fighting now. I think I'm actually going to start doing something. And he goes in, gives him just a 1-2 bang left hook, drops him, and it was an amazing fight. I remember getting up out of my chair and screaming, just yelling. Me and my buddies were so hyped because that's what Jiri brings. He brings that unfiltered, raw, unpredictable chaos, that factor, that consequence that fighting has, that nature that his fans and his fighters, you can understand, wow, like there's that underlying theme of danger, you know what I mean? And Jiri brings it out, and he beats literally everyone. He has beat everyone except for Alex Pereira. Literally, that is it. He's beaten everybody else. He hasn't lost anybody in the UFC. And I think we also forget he won the title 2 fights into his career in the UFC, right? Fought Volkan Ozdemir, fought Dominic Reyes, fought Glover Teixeira, finished all 3 of them. Listen, Horizon light heavyweight champion, UFC light heavyweight champion, best wins. His rear naked choke win over Glover Teixeira was awesome. His knockout over Khalil Roundtree Jr. that I mentioned earlier, his knockout win in King Mo in Ryzen was awesome. Very early on, his spinning elbow knockout against Dominic Reyes in his second fight in UFC was awesome. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of just excitement and knockouts and highlight reels and finishes for Jiri Prochazka. I can sit and talk about him all day. I think at the end of the day, he is the most exciting guy in the UFC, and he's by far number 1 on this list. Even though it's by weight order more than, he is the number 1 guy by far, no question. And now for the heavyweight division. This pick is actually, I don't think anyone was expecting this one, but this is my pick for the most violent guy in the heavyweights right now. That's Derrick Lewis. Without a doubt, Derrick Lewis, most KOs in UFC history with 16. And the thing is he's still knocking people out. His most recent fight was against Taliesin Teixeira, where fucking Teixeira just got hit with a bomb, flew back, tried to climb up the cage and recover. It just didn't work. His best finishes are against guys like Curtis Blades. I mean, he caught and slept Curtis Blades with a nasty uppercut and then just ground and pound from there. and it was wild. And then his surprise clutch comeback finish when he KO'd Volkov, also a ground and pound. Derrick Lewis got some really good ground and pound. That's a common theme. And then when he KO'd Travis Brown and said this.
What round they rise and find ass at?
Anyways, fine shits, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want more content like this. Who do you believe is more violent than any of my entries on this list? And I'd love to hear your input down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video whenever I make one. Peace.